Give them a shot to do what?
Ladies and gentlemen, I am Mike Hughes, aka the Shy Kid. You are listening to the Shy Kid podcast presented by Give Us a Shot Network. So make sure give us a like, give us a follow, hit the link in the bio below. And if I did somehow, some way, unfortunately, forget to add that in the link in the bio, because for some reason I think I just remembered I did forget that. So just go to our website below or go on my Facebook, Instagram, YouTube page, and you can find where I share everything. I'm sure Germ or somebody will edit it to make sure it's in our description, or I'll just do that as soon as this episode ends. But due to my ignorance, Marcus, I will be introducing the man, the myth, the legend himself, Dwayne Marcus from Pack a Punch podcast. And protect our queens, which is no hood, regurgitate that, because that's my guy, that's my show over there. Him and Martin do amazing things. Marcus, how we feeling, baby?
Feeling good, man. Feeling good. It's we're one day in the new era of Packers football. I'm excited, bro.
It's that time. Hey, listen, I was just keeping that same energy. I know you saw the TikTok I made. I say, hey, listen, the deal's going to get done. I know it is. It is. But so many Packers fans were telling me that Caleb's deal wasn't getting done. So I was just returning that energy. But brother, welcome to the inked pen. Welcome to the contract room. How do you feel, man? Let's get that out the way first and foremost. Jordan Love, what was it? 4 year, $220 million.
4 years, 220. He's making $55 million this year, highest paid quarterback in the history of football. I want to make something crystal clear, because I saw so many people pissed off that he's the highest paid quarterback in NFL history. I remember, bro, there was a time when Mike Conley had the richest contract in NBA history. These things all balance out, right? So if you're
disrespect Mike Conley.
No, I love Mike Conley. I'm just saying, let's not be hooked on the fact that he's the highest paid quarterback in NFL history. I got that. Now, I know this is Bears and Packers. I do just want to say really quickly, and I was going to talk about this eventually, our contract for Jordan Love, first of all, direct response to what Tua got, because I know it was just 8 games, but if we're picking quarterbacks, you're 100% taking Jordan Love before you take Tua. That's number one. I just made that clear. But also, I would say that this contract for Jordan Love spells trouble for the Cowboys, because for the second time in Dak's career, they're going to pay the wrong person first. If you guys remember, when both him and Zeke's contract were up at the same time, who'd they pay first? They paid Zeke. They beefed up the O-line. They didn't play Dak. And what happened? Zeke regressed. O-line got old and injured. Dak's still here. Here we are again. Dak Prescott in line for money. $60 million that he is worth, if we're being completely honest. And after Jordan Love getting paid, it might be more, because Dak's
no disrespect. And I'm happy you said that, because to be real, Jordan Love, let's get this out the way. Jordan Love in one full season had a better year than any Chicago Bears quarterback has had in their entire franchise, hit over 4,000 yards. But in that same breath, Dak Prescott shits out 4,000 yards a season at ease. He wipes his ass with 4,000 yards. So it's if that's what Jordan got after one season, what's 7, 8 plus years of 40 plus seasons? It's definitely going to be one of those conversations where Dak is going to be the highest paid quarterback in the league. And you might look at that down the line and say, to your point, man, I remember there was a time, wasn't Karl Anthony Towns the highest paid player in NBA history? And it's oh my God.
It all balances itself out. You have to remember, Pat Mahomes right now, I think with all these new contracts, he's probably outside the top 20 at this point. But we know that Pat Mahomes is still the best quarterback in the NFL. But remember also at the time of his contract, $450 million over 10 years.
Right.
That's the richest contract we'd ever seen at that point. It's like it all when it's time for Pat to get paid again, Pat will go back up to the top. That's how these things work. I just thought it was interesting that when we talk about like the effects of certain contracts, right? The effect of Jordan Love getting paid is the Dallas Cowboys are going to have to make a decision. Are they not even the Cowboys? Jerry Jones has a decision to make. Because let's be 100% honest, whether you like Dak, whether you don't like Dak, whether you love him, you hate him, you respect him, or you don't, we have to acknowledge the fact that if Dak Prescott were in a different situation with a team that was actually committed to build around him and actually compete for a championship with him, they can do that. Right. And there are certainly teams in the NFL that could see Dak Prescott at the end of this season, upcoming season, and go, yeah, we want that guy to be our quarterback. If for some reason he doesn't get paid, Dak could win a Super Bowl with the Jets. I think Dak could make an interesting. I think he can make things interesting in Pittsburgh. I think he can make things interesting in Cleveland. I think he can make things interesting in one of those NFC South teams, right?
Yeah, Denver. I mean, I think he could be very.
He could make things interesting in Denver. Like there are teams that would love the services of Dak Prescott. I feel like Jerry Jones has been taking credit or has been taking Dak for granted in this career. Again, I know this isn't a Cowboys show. I just want my initial thought when I saw that Jordan Love got paid was obviously it's about time. But then immediately I was like, wow, like Jerry Jones is on the clock now. Because if this doesn't get done, all Jerry is doing is showing Dak that he's really not valued in the organization.
Right. And so it's kind of like the Kirk Cousins effect where it's like, all right, like
100%. Dak can take his ball and go elsewhere. And there are people that would love to have him under center in the NFL. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, if I didn't have Caleb Williams number 1 overall, I mean, hey, Dak could play in my yard, no problem.
Yeah.
But I think like it's a great point, and I think the conversations that we're really having deep down internally is you've watched what the rest of the league has done. Josh Allen outlived Stephon Diggs and the rest of that core just because the quarterback play is so important. Patrick Mahomes outlives Tyreek Hill in Kansas City because the quarterback play is so important. And you see, I loved what you talked about the other day on the pod about Worthy and what Worthy is going to be able to bring. Like wide receivers, respectfully, are kind of a dime a dozen in today's NFL because there's so many amazing talents coming out, and the football of the quarterback play is so tremendous versus let's even say 10 years ago, there were 3 to 4 guys who were elite quarterbacks in the NFL. And now you're looking, I could say there's 6 to 8 elite quarterbacks in the NFL that I could really look at and say, yeah, you know what? You could take an average wide receiver and turn him into a fringe Pro Bowler. You saw it happen as well. Let's talk about Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert outlives Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and the boys because you understand at the end of the day, we got to pay Herbs. And that's just what it comes down to. We can get, they didn't get Marvin Harrison Jr., but you can get a guy like that and have him fall into your lap going into next year. So yeah, I definitely get it. I just had to give you guys some shit. So, NFC North quarterbacks are officially locked in. Don't know what Drake May's contract looks like. Don't really care. We know Jared Goff just got paid. Jordan Love got paid, and Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze said they were going to wait until Hard Knocks to begin to sign that, kind of make it a little thing. I bet it'll be a part of the series, which will be kind of cool. $39 million.
Not weird, but it was really interesting when I saw that they were doing that.
I liked it because you got to think about it, bro. Like you don't have to deal with it. Like we had to hear it all year, like for the last year and a half, really, that Caleb didn't want to be a Bear. That Caleb didn't want to be in Chicago. Yeah. So to me, I think it was like, yo, let's get this on film just to like, this is for the haters. This is for, I just channeled my inner germ. This is for the haters. Fuck them. But like real shit, like it really is for the haters because it's like so many people said. I remember one of the first shows I ever did was on germs, on stuff about sports. And we had that conversation about, keeping Justin or getting Caleb Williams. And I was like, I don't know if he really wants to be here. Colin Cowherd's telling me he doesn't. And then the people in Caleb's camp are saying Colin Cowherd's a liar. So something there, where there's smoke, there's fire.
Colin Cowherd is a liar.
Colin Cowherd is fucking terrible, brother. But his daughter, though, I'm not gonna get into that. I just know she used to date Trey Lance. That's all I know on the low. I cannot. That was a.
Can either confirm or deny.
It's so I would see her in his comment section And I would see how Colin would talk so highly of him on the pod, or on the show, even though he hadn't thrown a ball in over a year because he didn't play in the COVID season. So I'm like, why are we hyping this man up right now? What are we doing? What are we doing? No, I'm playing, but let's get into it, man. Let's have a great conversation because training camp is underway. I know you didn't want to talk about it. I know you told me Marcus's words were, "I do not care about Hard Knocks," but I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to tell, bro. This is my personal experience from training camp, right? The aura of the NFL Films crew of Hard Knocks it's crazy, bro. There were guys in t-shirts at Hard Knocks Chicago Bears crew. I was like, I need one of them. But like, it was just cool seeing NFL Films do what they do. I got a chance to be, I don't know if I'll make the Hard Knocks cut, but they're, Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards are throwing the ball to each other on the sideline from 15 yards away, talking to each other. I know they didn't hear a single word each other was saying. They were just yapping or it was scripted. Cause I was like, me and my boy James were like, there's even a video. James is like, I know they can't hear each other right now. Like, that's crazy. That's blasphemy. Yeah. Like, I could barely hear James when we're in the huddle and we're playing ball on Lakeshore Drive. So, but yeah, man, I mean, it was a cool atmosphere. Got a little free training camp cup 2024. So hey, if this is the franchise quarterback of the future, I could say I was there for his first training camp. I was there, I saw it. But we got a lot going on. I want your perspective on the Packers, what you've noticed so far in training camp. For myself, being there the last couple of days, I've noticed a few things. One, Rome Odunze is that guy. And I think we all already knew that, obviously, watching the national championship game, what he was able to do with Michael Penix. He's been incredible. His aura, I don't know if you got a chance to watch Hard Knocks Giants version, but like the way he carried himself in that with Caleb Williams and company, Marvin Harrison Jr. and Neighbors. I mean, it was a great series. Horrible GM, great series. But it's definitely one of those things for me where guys are looking good. TJ Edwards looks good. DeAndre Swift, even though there's not a lot of running back play. When you're in training camp, especially on 7-on-7s, like what are you going to do? But it was a lot of fun. Big thing I noticed, my biggest takeaway thus far from training camp, though, Caleb Williams in 7-on-7s looks like a top 3 quarterback in the NFL, period. Caleb Williams on 11-on-11s looks like there's going to be a lot of progress. When he's had that pass rush in his face, there's been a lot of mistakes, underthrows, overthrows, sometimes just miscommunications, miscues, holding the ball too long. And I know you made that face, Marcus, and that's exactly why I said it, because all these highlight videos, for the majority from what we've seen, I mean, he had an amazing, he's running out of the pocket, sidearm throw, looks like Superman, boom, hits Keenan Allen. Love that. But that was on a 7-on-7 drill. So my biggest takeaway is, what are you going to look like on 11-on-11s? What are you going to look like next week in Canton when you do the Hall of Fame game against CJ Stroud, if he plays at all? It's going to be interesting to see him continue to grow and develop, because I've noticed struggling in the 11-on-11s. Now, granted, and I heard what you said. First, fuck you, Marcus. Second, the Bears have a top 5 defense. I heard what you said. You said you wasn't worried about that defense. I heard what you said. Fuck you, Marcus. That defense is real. And I hope whoever just walked in your room, I hope it's Tremaine Edmonds, and I hope he's about to go crazy. But I heard what you said. But no, man, I think this is a great defense you're going up against. Jalen Johnson, one of the better corners in the NFL. I think you'd agree on that. And then obviously you have a guy like Tyreek Stevenson, Tremaine Edmonds, Montez Sweat, and them boys. Kevin Byard, who's picked off Caleb multiple times already. So, it's a good thing and a bad thing when your rookies practicing against a great defense. You're either going to end up growing from that, or you'll just end up being Mitchell Trubisky. But, what have you seen thus far? I know you haven't seen a lot from Jordan Love because of the contract thing, and he was there, but he wasn't practicing. But what have you noticed? You got Josh Jacobs in the room. Like, what's your biggest takeaway from training camp?
I think our wide receiver room from top to bottom is top 10 in the NFL. 100%.
I think they were top 10 last year.
Well, they were certainly top 10, I would say, like towards the back half of the season. But with Christian Watson getting his quad figured out, it's like we know what's up with, or his hamstring figured out, like we know what's up with that. We know who Jaden Reed is, who, by the way, will probably finish the season as wide receiver 1. Very excited for what Dontavian Wicks is going to do this year. Romeo Doubs gives me a little bit of concern because he had a great training camp last season and like his year wasn't that great, but he showed up big in the game against the Cowboys. But like him at his best, still really great. And then we have Bo Melton, who's like our 5th guy, but like we've also seen Bo Melton come out there and take over games when needed. So
Yeah.
obviously you have Tank Dell, Nico Collins, Stephon Diggs in Houston. You have Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, Jackson Smith, and Jigba in Seattle. You've got Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams, Donovan Peoples-Jones in our division. Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Romeo Dunte in our division, or in Chicago.
I don't know why that took so long. I don't know why.
I'm not going in order. I'm just naming them. You've got you have AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, and I would say Paris Campbell makes them a solid, trio as well. And you have Tyreek Hill, Odell Beckham. I know he's old, but as a wide receiver 3 in that type of scenario alongside Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, that could be perfect for him as well.
Yeah.
I don't want to discredit the Rams. The only issue is I think the Rams just kind of have a really big dynamic duo. I don't really think they have a solid 3 or 4 behind them.
Who is it?
I'm not 100% sold. I feel the same way about the Vikings. I know Justin Jefferson's best receiver in the league.
Right.
And
Jordan Addison.
I'm a big fan of Jordan Addison, but their 3, I'm not all too sure about that.
I think who is it going to be? Would it be Osborne? No.
I think it'd be I don't think KJ Osborne's there anymore.
No, I don't think he is.
I don't know who their 3 is. I mean, I guess for all intents and purposes, their 3rd wide receiver is technically TJ Hawkinson, honestly, if we're being honest.
Yeah, I mean, by that logic.
If you want to put it in that regard, then they would certainly be in that conversation. But I think for us to have the versatility that we have at receiver, all 5 of these guys do very different things, and they're also great at very different things, but it works cohesively. I do think our clear-cut wide receiver 1 is Jaden Reed, though. I think, with Christian Watson being out, I think a lot of people assume it would be Romeo Doubs, and then Jaden Reed just stepped up in that role, had a massive year last year. And so I think 100%, even with Christian Watson being back this season healthy, I still think Jaden Reed is the one. Christian Watson as your 2 is not a bad, not bad. And you have Romeo Doubs as your 3. And we have Dontavian Wicks as our kind of gadgety type guy. And then Bo Melton can slide in at any point in time and still cause some issues. So our wide receiver room, I think, is one of the best wide receiver rooms in the league. I'd say it's top 10. But what's most exciting to me is the defense. Because for the first time in a long time, I would say really for the first time since we won the Super Bowl, honestly, and maybe a couple years after that, we have legit playmakers on all 3 levels, which makes me very excited because not only do we have playmakers at all 3 levels, we don't have Joe Barry calling defense anymore, which means I don't have to look up and see Preston Smith lined up against the other team's wide receiver 1, right? You start off with the defensive line. We're talking Preston Smith, Devontae Wyatt. We're talking Kenny Clark, who just got paid, and we're talking Rashawn Gary, who debuted at 50 on NFL 100 the other day, which I just thought was kind of cool as his first time being on there. Rashawn Gary, I think, might be a dark horse for Defensive Player of the Year this year, honestly, as well. He had a great year last season coming off the ACL. I think he'll have an even better year this year. The defensive line, I think, playmakers up there. Then you go to the second level when you're talking about Quay Walker, Edrin Cooper, who we just drafted, who I think is a dog. I love that pick. And then, of course, you have Isaiah McDuffie as our slot linebacker. And then you go to the secondary, and not only do we have Jair Alexander and Eric Stokes hopefully back and healthy, as well as Valentine and Ballantyne, but now we have Javon Bullard from Georgia, who's a dog, both literally and figuratively. And somehow we were able to steal Xavier McKinney from New York. Our defense, I think, should be a top 5 unit in the league because we have those playmakers on all 3 levels. And my favorite part about training camp, and it wasn't really training camp, it was more so rookie mini camp, is Edrin Cooper was saying in an interview, afterwards in media, he was saying the one thing he loves the most about a new DC is he's one of those guys where it's very much just focus on the ball at all times. Never turn your back to the ball, go all in towards the ball. And if there's any mistakes, he'll take all the blame. That's not something you see very often. And so with all these playmakers flying around the field with this just, take no prisoners approach, pin your ears back and go get the ball, we should be flying all over the place. I don't think I've been, like I said, I don't think I've been as excited about a Packers defense since the year we won the Super Bowl when we had AJ Hawk and Clay Matthews, and we still had Charles Woodson before he kind of
don't even say Clay Matthews.
I loved it. I loved it so much. This defense, I think, is a top 5 unit. So that's the big thing for me. The wide receiver room, everyone's been talking about, but the defense for me, just seeing how it's all fitting, and hearing and reading on Twitter, seeing clips of it, especially Edrin Cooper, just out here making plays already. His ability to read and react is, I think, going to be the big difference. Because if there's one thing that we were missing, not really missing, but if there's one thing I was kind of concerned about with us letting Devondre Campbell go, it's finding someone to replace him that could read and react just as well as he could. Insert Edrin Cooper, who can read and react, seems like better than anybody on the defense right now at the linebacker spot. So I'm very excited to see what our defense does this season.
Yeah, I think you made a lot of great points, and I think, for me, one thing about the Aaron Rodgers era that I always felt like the Bears had a shot, even though we never did. Marcus, I'll never say we did. Even though we didn't, it always felt like we did because our defense was always light years ahead of yours. And it was like, okay, if we can stop Aaron and Matt Forte can run the ball, Jordan Howard can run the ball, we'll see what happens. We can make something happen. And the one year we did have both, we ended up actually winning the division that year. So, oh my God, it's almost like if you focus on the offense, good things will happen. Good things will come. But then we got to wait from that for the next 4 years. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's great to see that, man. It's great to see that because I love competitiveness. I don't want, and I know you'll be like, well, you couldn't do it anyway. But like, I don't want the Bears to just dog walk the Packers every single year. And I'm sure, yeah, whatever. Yeah, I'm sure you wouldn't want that either, though. Like, you want the competitiveness.
There's definitely football is better when the Packers and the Bears are having competitive football.
Exactly. Like Brian Urlacher versus Clay Matthews and Lance Briggs and them boys versus Aaron Rodgers, Jay Cutler. Like, it was some of the best football we had growing up. And even though let's be completely real, outside of the Packers championship, neither team really ran the North, I guess you could say, so to speak. Like, no one really ever did. It was just kind of like, everybody had their turn, other than the Bears. Everybody had their turn, and then it was just like Tom Brady is going to end all and beat everybody. And then as soon as Brady left, it turned into Patrick Mahomes. So it's been cool to see like this NFC North go from one of the worst divisions in football to slowly becoming one of the best. And even though the Vikings defense is very, very far off from being who they want to be, and a big part of that is to former coaching staffs that they had that just beat it to death. But, I think, man, it really comes down to Detroit, Chicago, Packers defense is going to be what changes everything. Like, respectfully, Jettas, I love you. Receiver, I mean, what an amazing film. What an amazing representation of what a receiver should be. The aura of Justin Jefferson is insane. And I fear you, but I don't fear that defense. I don't fear that stadium. I don't fear that state. And I damn sure do not fear Drake May or Sam Darnold, brother. Sorry. So yeah, good luck with that. Sure, this trade request will be here in about 2 to 3 business seasons, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. It's going to be a lot of fun. I personally myself, I think Bears already had a low end top 5 defense going into last year. At the end of the year, how they finished with Montez Sweat, you're the number 1 run stopping defense, one of the best secondaries in football. You add Kevin Byard to the mix, Tyreek Stevenson, who is a defensive rookie of the year candidate, Jalen Johnson, locked down one of the best corners, highest paid corner in football, I believe. Still accurate. I don't think any other corner got paid this summer. Yeah, I think it was just Jalen for the most part. And if it was anybody else, cry about it because you're not good enough for me to remember.
I think Jair got paid. I don't think he's making.
Did he get paid after Jalen? I think he got paid before Jalen.
I think he got paid before Jalen. Yeah.
Yeah. So it makes sense. But and respect to Jair, man. I hate Jair for so many different reasons, but the main one is because I love him. That's the main reason why. I love his personality. I love who he is. It's unfortunate, but I think, having this situation with the Chicago Bears, having a top 5, arguably, and not arguably top 10 defense, whether you want to say it's 5 or 10, I don't care. Great defense. You have Matt Eberflus as your head coach. You bring in Shane Waldron. But the trio, we talked about the trios. Keenan Allen, who just got ranked top 50 in the NFL on top 100 list. I believe he was 51 or 53, something like that. Montez Sweat is ranked 82nd. I believe Jalen Johnson will probably make that list as it continues. Maybe a guy like Tremaine Edmonds, TJ Edwards also makes the cut. We'll see what happens. They slide a lot of the defensive guys. Caleb Williams should be top 5. But I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I think it's gonna be really cool to see what a trio like this can do. Because I remember the Brandon Marshall, Alshon Jeffrey days. But Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, and Rome Odunze with Cole Kmet, with DeAndre Swift. I want to say Khalil Herbert, but I would imagine he is cut or traded at some point during this camp. It just doesn't look like he's getting a lot of reps. They're running with Roshan Johnson, who's the backup at Texas, for Bijan Robinson. So that makes sense. A little Jordan Howard and him. It's so real though. So this guy, you remember that Packers game? Hey, listen, you dog walked this, but you can't lie. That Roshan Johnson hit.
That was a big hit.
Talked about that shit for a week. They were like, what about the score? I go, nah.
Roshan Johnson. No, let's talk about the score. That's what matters.
I'm not talking about the Bears right now. I'm talking about Roshan Johnson. I'm excited. I honestly didn't even think they'd go after Swift, but obviously watching Hard Knocks, this is why I'm going to continue to bring it up because Marcus hates Hard Knocks.
I
But
don't hate Hard Knocks. I'm just not, just in general, I'm not like a reality TV type of guy.
sure. This is as close as it'll get from me. This is
Yeah,
Jersey
like I'm not
Shore,
really
Hard
now.
Knocks.
I will admit I did watch the Lions one, but that's
2 years
because
ago?
I think that was 2 years ago now. But that's
Yeah.
because I was just really interested to see. There was a lot of hype around. I was like, let me see what's happening. I think because they like just got Dan. There's like a lot happening. I was like, let me just see what's going on. I thought that was really cool. I'm just not like a reality TV.
No, I get it.
Like,
I
the
get it.
closest I get to reality TV is like cooking shows, like Master Chef and Hell's
I
Kitchen.
rock with cooking shows.
Like I'm not really like a. This is this is
Yeah.
Caleb Williams after a tough like. That's not really my thing. I don't really.
No,
care.
I get it. I get it.
You'll see all the clips on Twitter anyway. Like all the clips that matter, you'll see them on Twitter anyway. So it's like there's no need to.
My main reason for watching Hard Knocks was the Lions one was for Jamal Williams. I've always been a diehard Jamal Williams.
That's a great point too. I wanted to see how I was so upset when we let him walk.
Oh, man. I was so lit when y'all let him go. I was like, yes, Jamal's gone. And then he went to the Lions, and I was like, fuck, no, stop! Like, why are you doing this?
Yeah, man. That was a good one. But like, I don't think I'll watch. I think the only way I'll watch Hard Knocks again is if we're on it. That would be the only way.
Yeah, that's my biggest hype of this Hard Knocks. Is like, oh my god, the Bears have never done it, and it's Caleb, and it's first year, so it's cool. But we're seeing a lot of things, man, and I think, my biggest takeaway from everything, whether it's Hard Knocks or not, is really just understanding the hype, understanding what it means. I was in front of Caleb Williams, right in his face, and I saw the man with my own eyes. Definitely looks different in person. Not that I thought he was short or small, but I've been next to Justin Fields before, and I'm like, holy shit, what a tank of a human. And then I've been I was next to Tremaine Edmonds, and oh my god, what a tank of a human. I'm 5'7", brother, so like everyone's a tank to me. But like I'm like, wow, like it's great. I'm like Donkey staring at Shrek. I'm like, holy shit. But like Caleb just looks like a dude. Caleb looks like a dude. He looks like a cool guy. Like Rodgers kind of always looked like that too. He wasn't Tom Brady. Patrick Mahomes has the gut. He has the abs underneath the dad bod, he says. Which Raiders fans, I see you in the chat as well. God bless. I don't know why y'all played yourselves like that, but crazy. But I think I look at Caleb and I go, yo, this guy just looks like some ordinary guy. And then I see him throw the ball. And I'm like, okay, I get it now. Like, okay, this guy got something to him. He's got a little swag to him. Like he's got it. I think there's a lot to be said about what we talked about earlier. Caleb struggling in the 11-on-11s, trying to get used to the pass rush in the NFL, especially with, you're not to say the offensive line isn't good, because I think it is, but you have a lot of unanswered questions right now. You're a rotating center position between Ryan Bates and company. You really don't know what you have there, and people are getting reps from all different places. Guys are also just kind of, let's be real, the trenches aren't really going full in when they're not in pads. That's just what it is. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense, but I'm excited to see how he continues to grow and develop, because he looks, like I said, amazing on the 7-on-7s, amazing on the 7-on-7s. The 11-on-11s, if that's the 2024 season for Caleb Williams, which I don't think it will be, it's very concerning. So I'm excited for them to get the pads on. I'm excited for them to get after it. I do want to talk to you about something that wasn't on the topic sheet that I found very interesting. Now, I was trying to record Caleb, and TJ Edwards and his big ass bubble guardian cap was in my way, and I couldn't film because that cap was so damn big. Understandably so. I myself, 3 to 4 documented concussions. How many I've actually had? So I definitely love the idea of the guardian cap being able to be worn in NFL games this season, not just practice. I saw that they made the cover sleeve. I don't know if you saw it, the Los Angeles Chargers one, where it has the number and the logo on the side, and it actually makes the cap look 10 times better. So I want your opinion, because I saw somebody talking about it on TikTok. It ruins the aura of the NFL, was what somebody said on TikTok. It ruins the swag and the sexiness of NFL football. Marcus, I mean, is it a debate or not? Do you think that is a weak argument? Like, because for me, I'm like, first of all, I've never once watched a football play. I never once watched Calvin Johnson moss people, Randy Johnson moss people, and go, wow, what an amazing, amazing helmet he's got on right there. So I'm like, I'm trying to figure it out in my head. Like, what are we talking about? What do we talk? Randy Johnson. I don't know why I said Randy Johnson.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah, I don't think
Randy Moss, sir. Randy Moss. Randy Johnson is in South Park. But yeah, how do you feel about it?
I understand why. We've reached the era in sports where, it's crazy, right? Because we still don't know much about the brain, but compared to what we know now about the brain compared to what we knew 5, 10, 15 years ago, you understand why some of these things are taking place. Personally, 100% honest, from an aesthetic standpoint, not a fan of it.
Sure.
Just aesthetically, it'll take some getting used to, right? I think also because it's not like a mandatory thing, it's like an optional thing. So like some
it looks
players
weird.
can have
Some
it
people
on.
wearing it, right?
Like if it were just a universal, everyone's wearing it, I think aesthetically it would be a lot quicker to get accustomed to because everyone would be wearing it. But like it'll be kind of weird to get used to like half the people wearing it, half of them not. But in the grand scheme of things, you're thinking about why they're doing it. They're doing it to help mitigate concussions. They're doing it to help mitigate, obviously, the long-term effects of potentially getting CTE, things of that nature, just any type of major brain injury. Honestly, if we're being honest, it could even help. And again, I'm not a science person, but I did okay in anatomy, and I know that your brain stem is connected to your spine, so it may or may not help with any spinal injuries as well, as far as preventing the brain from moving so much that you get that instability there. But I don't care. Like it's football, bro.
Right.
Like it's not going to give anyone an advantage or a disadvantage. Like it's football. Is it going to look weird? Yeah, it'll look weird to see that. But by the end of the season, you're not even going to. It's not even a thing you're going to be thinking about. You're not going to be thinking about it by the end of the season. By like Thanksgiving, you're not even going to be thinking about it. So like
you remember.
It'll take some getting used to, though, for sure.
The Major League my bad. The Major League Baseball jerseys is a perfect comp to what you just said. Because it's like in April, it was like, what the fuck? You're ruining baseball. People screaming in the mic.
Crappy, but now it's like, all right. I mean, no one's
haven't heard anybody say a single word since. Now I will say
like, it's the same as like when the NBA and I wish they would stop doing this because there was a time when jerseys meant something. But like it's the same like when at the beginning of every season around like late September. So in about 2 months, we're going to get all those those drops of all those crappy city edition jerseys. And for a week, everyone's going to be complaining about them. And then by the time we get to Thanksgiving, no one's going to be saying anything about it really, because it's like, like it's weird to see, probably not the best that could be done. Certainly someone else will be making the jerseys, but also it's like, this is not going to affect, you're not going to not watch basketball because of these city. You're not going to not watch football because they have the bubble caps on.
Even some people were to go as far as to say is, yo, listen, the play-in tournament, the court looks fucking horrendous, but it didn't stop anybody from watching it. Like it 100%. Did. I
like the idea of having a in-season tournament court.
Right.
I think the color schemes and the way they did it were a bit odd.
The Bulls just straight red.
Didn't keep me from watching the games though. Took some getting used to, but I did not watch the game. I didn't say, oh yeah, I'm not like. So I think there is a small population of people in every group that are always going to be looking for something to complain about. And in the case of the NFL, that population is the people that don't like the bubble caps. Guess what? If you are choosing not to watch NFL football this season because of bubble caps, then you're not really an NFL fan. Because if you're really a fan of something as minute as this, that really, if you think about it in the long term, for all of these players that you so deeply love and admire and want to see successful, this is in their best interest. So if you don't want to watch for that, then I don't know what to tell you, bro.
It was
watch in a sports bar somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah. Like what had me fucked up, and this is where I'm at. We're on TikTok live right now too, and I know I got some of my buddies from high school that are here. If you watched me play ever, if you saw the way I moved, even today with my boys, Lakeshore Drive, undefeated. Shout out to them. We just started our little training camp. We're running it back. Let's see what happens. Hey, if we lose a single game this year, it's a failed season. So we're back at it. But in point of that, if you ever watched me play halfback, if you ever watched me play safety, in the very rare instances, I pulled my Ryan Gosling out and I played corner. I'm coming for your dome. Pause. No Diddy. But I real shit. Like I'm coming for you. Like, and that was your job as a safety, was to hurt people. And that was my job as a running back, was you are going to hurt me. So I am going to hurt you. And I'm running straight into your face. Like, that's just what it is. So I think, the argument of they know what they're signing up for, shut the fuck up. Period. Like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to talk about it because no one's signing up for CTE, you ignorant asshole. Like, period. Like, I hear so many people talking about, oh man, well, they know what they're signing up for. They make millions of dollars. You know, shout out to Stephen McMichael. Shout out Mongo, because he's about to be inducted into the Bears Hall of Fame, but unfortunately, he's not going to be able to even make a speech at that game because of the issues he has with his body right now. And I would bet you a huge factor into that was the amount of hits that he was taking. And, you know, I think there's a lot of different conversations about the Antonio Browns of the world, to the Aaron Hernandezes of the world, to all of these different individuals who have had so many different issues. And let's talk about the guys who didn't make it to the league. You know, there's so many guys who have just taken their own lives. So many guys who post-career, pre-career, during career have taken their own lives, or been in instances where, hey, man, you know, I don't know, this was a great kid his entire life, but for whatever reason, he woke up one day and decided he was going to go drive 150 down the highway. And like, that shit happens. And these are not normal cognitive thoughts of someone who, Marcus, to your point, student always comes before athlete. You have a 4-point-something GPA. Why are you doing dumb shit? Why are so many of these guys doing horrible things? You have to ask yourself why. And I think, like, you know, some of it is immaturity. Some of it is blame. Never mind. Doesn't matter. Jefferson is now a Detroit Lion. Doesn't matter, Marcus. Doesn't tread the Malik Jefferson. Doesn't tread the needle for us whatsoever. We'll just carry on. Sorry, got a notification. Thought it was important. Lions are Lions. But you know, I think at the end of the day, for me, man, if you can fix it, why not fix it? If you can prevent it, why not prevent it? Like, if I'm a police officer, I could wear a bulletproof vest, but if it doesn't match my aesthetic of my jacket, why should I? I'm wearing the fucking vest. Like, I'm saving my life. And that's where a lot of guys who sat on the couch their entire life, never picked up a ball, never picked up a rock, and whether it's, and listen, this ain't towards none of the football guys, whether it's baseball, football, basketball, lacrosse, I don't care. If you played it, you had a chance of injuring yourself and getting a concussion. How many elbows you taken in your life, Marcus, hooping? You know what I mean? Like, how many elbows straight to the face?
I've taken some good elbows. I broke some glasses playing basketball. I've broken some glasses playing football. I played soccer when I was a kid. Like, you're always going to be at risk. So again, when we live in a world now where everything is always going to be about preserving the health of our athletes for as long as possible, because and I made this point, not to kind of get into women's basketball, but I made this point about, and I try to make this point about Caitlin Clark, especially because I feel like that's the best example of it. There are a lot of people who are so upset that Caitlin's not involved in all these things. And one thing that I just made pretty simple on Tuesday on Talk About Sports was, like, does she not deserve a break? Like, we have to remember, these are still human beings. Like, they still, and so for a lot of these NFL guys, they still have wives to go home to, or girlfriends to go home to. They have kids. Like, they are not just objects for our entertainment to sit out here on 3 hours to go out there 3 hours every Sunday afternoon or night and, get into literally a million car crashes a day for our entertainment. These are still human beings. And so if the league feels that implementing these bubble caps, I wish I knew the correct term for it, but if they feel that implementing these bubble caps,
they're just calling them guardian caps, if I'm not mistaken.
Guardian cap, that's what it is. If they're, I think I always call them bubble caps because they look like bubble wrap to me.
Oh, they look like bubble wrap.
They're pretty big. But like, if implementing these things in game is going to help in the long term prevent the number of concussions that we're seeing, preventing, again, the number of cases of CTE we can see down the line, I'm all for it. Because if there's one thing about me, I love football, I love basketball, I love sports, I love watching sports. I don't like seeing anyone get hurt, whether I'm a fan of yours or not. I'm not a Bears fan, but I never am going to see Caleb Williams, knock on wood, break his leg and stand up and applaud. I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to see Justin Jefferson get hurt and be happy because of that. I'm not going to look at Jared Goff if he gets hurt. No, I'm a human being. These are all humans at the end of the day. And we saw it, right? This wasn't done, just out of the wazoo. The whole purpose of them implementing the guardian caps in training camps and practices in the first place was because we have to remember what we're talking about, so that eventually this was going to make it to Sunday.
Yeah, because
it's going to make it to Sunday eventually.
that's what's pissing me off, is because people are like, no, bro, like why would they should, the one guy's argument was they should wear them in practice, but it's dumb to wear them during game. Why in a million years? I'm going to give you an example, because this is what happened to me yesterday. I was on Kimball and Peterson. If you're in Chicago, I'm in that area, and I'm driving down Peterson. I'm going to Target, and this kid walks right in front of my like, I'm parked. I'm at a red light. Like, I'm Marcus, look into my shit. I am parked. I watch this kid walking across the street. He turns, looks at his friend, looks back at me. I'm like, what's happening? This kid walks all the way up to the hood of my car, lays on top of it, goes, ugh, and then walks away. Doesn't,
honestly,
like,
I've done that before.
but like,
But I did it to someone whose car I knew, not a random.
I didn't know this man whatsoever. I was like, what just happened? But like, my point of that, and why I brought that up, that's practice in the NFL. Now go get hit by a car that's actually moving. That's an NFL game. Why would I wear it in game, or why would I wear it in practice and not in game, when people are actually coming for me? When actually people are actually trying to take off my dome. When people are actually trying to take you out of the game. Be impactful to their organization. They are trying to make a play to feed their families. They are going to take you out. So why would I do it when we're going half speed on 7-on-7, but not when I'm in Green Bay in December and the playoffs are on the line and I'm the Chicago Bears? Like, that doesn't make, and vice versa. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Now, I did see some arguments. Some people were saying that, does that give an advantage to the offensive line? Because they're coming at you in a different angle and they have more protection, potentially. But I could also make that argument and say that it could hinder quarterback play because of how heavy the fucking helmet is. So, it is what it is. We'll see what happens. Bears offensive line, if something helps, something helps. Anything helps at this point, brother. Help is better than no help, so I'll take it. But I'm excited about the Guardian caps. And I know we had a little bit longer of a conversation than a lot of people probably wanted us to have on that. But I do think it's important, because it's, man, so many, and this goes back to what Dwayne, Marcus, and I were talking about off stage. So many people have never played the game. So many people have never been in these situations. So many people have never been in these types of atmospheres. So shut the fuck up. That's all I got to say. Because it's like, listen, at the end of the day, bro, guys are going to leave. I'm going to name some people really quickly, and people are going to be like, what is he even talking about? Nick Kwiatkowski, Cameron Meredith, Josh McCown. We can go all day long. Just name guys who were former Chicago Bears. They go on. People forget and go, but their lives continue. So if their life continues without football, without us as fans watching their every single move, that's what leads to so many suicides in NFL players. That's what leads to so many things happening, is because so many guys feel alone. So many guys go through things. And a big part of that is because of concussions, CTE, and post-traumatic brain injuries. I've talked to my guy, Daniel Carcillo, 2-time Stanley Cup champ, stand-up champ. He does amazing things right now. He's doing his Chapter 5 foundation. He's doing his psychedelics and mushrooms and stuff on retreats that are, helping the brain continue to grow and continue to get better. And that's a great step. But that's not by any help of the NHL. Like, that's real. And the NFL is trying, where the NHL kind of like pretends it doesn't happen. The NFL is trying now, which, again, Marcus, a whole different debate for another day on how long they knew of this stuff and didn't try. But they're trying now. And I think that's a step in the right way. So I think for any fan to sit up there and say, oh, it looks stupid. Yeah, so does walking down the street naked at 45 because you forgot where you were and you don't even know how you got out of bed. It's 2 a.m. So I'd rather my guys feel better, get well. That's all I had to say on that. But Marcus, we're back in the Bears, back in the NFC North. Let's get back to it. No more TED Talks. I want your top 5, brother. I want your top 5 NFC North players of the 2024 season. Who do you have? Rank them 1 through 5 best players in the North.
I think this is probably the only 5 that there should be. It's pretty self-explanatory, I feel. Justin Jefferson's number 1. He's the best receiver in football. And I would say that, obviously not the most valuable position on the field, but if you're ranking who are the most valuable players to their teams, there's no one more valuable in the NFC North to their team than Justin Jefferson. So Justin Jefferson's number 1. After that, it's Jared Goff. He's the best quarterback in the division. And he is, I would say, he's probably not the most important player on his team.
Right.
But he's probably the best player on his team by a very slim margin, just because he's the quarterback. So I have a number 2. Jalen Johnson's number 3. He's the best corner in the division.
Thanks, buddy. In the league.
By a little bit.
In the league.
And I think that Jalen Johnson, it's interesting. Not often do we see corners being the heart and soul of a defense, but like Jalen Johnson is the heart and soul of the Bears defense. So I had him 3. Jair is 4. He's the second best corner in the division. And then the 5th spot was tough for me because there was a couple different ways that I could go. I was thinking, I was throwing up there like TJ Hawkinson. I was throwing up there Harrison Smith, who I don't think gets a lot of credit, honestly. Sure. There's a lot of names but I did put Rashawn Gary at 5 because I think Rashawn Gary, like of all the players that I could have put at 5, he's the youngest of all of them. He has I think he'll have. I think he is a dark horse candidate for Defensive Player of the Year, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a Packers fan. Like
I've watched him a lot.
Great last season, coming off of an ACL injury, and finish. Where did he finish last year? I wish I pulled it up. I think he finished like top 6 or top 7.
He was 6 to 8. That's what I was.
Yeah, like he was somewhere in he finished top 10. In Defensive Player of the Year voting, coming off of an ACL injury. So
second half of the year too, you have an argument.
Second half of the year was nuts. He had a really great push. He's back again, better again, healthier, stronger. And as I mentioned earlier, there's so much more around him where he has an opportunity to really wreck the game. So if I had to put someone at 5, and I was going to put Rashawn Gary, because honestly, what I noticed when I was doing this is NFC North offenses, like it's very clear that like, obviously, there's really great offenses. Like Lions will probably have a top 10 offense. I think we'll have a top 10 offense. I think you guys, if Caleb Williams can get his life together in 11-on-11s, I think you guys can have a top 12, top 10 offense, probably, maybe top 15. But this division is going to be a defensive division, 100%. With the Bears having a top 5, top 7 defense, with us having a potentially top 7, top 5 defense. The Lions defense isn't great, but I think it will be better. It's decent. It's very middle of the pack. And the Vikings defense, again, not a great defense by any stretch of the imagination, but they do have good defensive players that can certainly impact the game or could go on other defenses. And like Harrison Smith gets no love anymore.
Right.
And it's only because he plays in Minnesota. Like if Harrison Smith played anywhere else where he was actually surrounded by other talented players, he's really the other guy that I was thinking about putting at 5 because I love Harrison Smith. Because Harrison Smith, I don't think he gets a lot of love anymore. Like when you think back to like the 2017 season with the Diggs catch against New Orleans, and like kind of before that, like Harrison Smith, maybe from I'd say maybe 2015, 2016 to like 2018 or so, like that 3-ish year stretch. One of the best safeties in football. Harrison Smith is still one of the best safeties in football.
That's
the problem is he doesn't have the support now that he had then. So he's not making plays the level that he was before, and he's also getting older.
Yeah, he's just old.
Like if you took Harrison Smith and put him in Pittsburgh, for example,
put
him in Houston, for example,
5, 6 interceptions.
If you put him somewhere else where there's a lot of other playmakers around him, where all he has to do is just sit back, read, react, which is what he does better than most, a lot more people would show him love. So I almost put Harrison Smith there, but he's old.
I like that. And it's the same conversation about like the optimism. Like I'm not ignorant to who Kevin Byard was in 2023 with the Eagles. It wasn't great at all. And I think he wasn't a great safety, but I also acknowledge in this role for the Chicago Bears, you have Jaquan Brisker, who is a hit stick safety. You have Jalen Johnson, Tyreek Stevenson, and Kyler Gordon. You have Montez Sweat, Tremaine Edmonds, TJ Edwards. You have the boys. You have the whole defense. So Kevin Byard is kind of my Harrison Smith for this Bears defense because he can just sit there and do what he does, be like a ball hawk like Eddie Jackson of 2018. Hopefully not Eddie Jackson of any other year. But shout out Eddie, though. Just got picked up by Baltimore. He's reuniting with Roquan Smith, so that's dope. It's definitely one of those things for me, man, where I mean, I gotta ask you, where let's go. Let's not do it all top 10. But in a top 10, does Jordan Love make your list of NFC North?
Jordan Love is a top 10 player in the NFC. Yes,
but in the NFC North, I'm saying. So like you don't have
not in the NFC, in the NFC North. Yes.
Where was he like an honorable mention for you? Because I know you didn't even. No. See, I have him in my top 5.
No, the only reason why, and I'll tell you why. The only reason why is because, like, if I keep going past 5, you have to put Amon-Ra St. Brown in a top 10. You have
Keenan
to.
Allen for sure.
I'm hesitant on Keenan Allen. I'm a massive Keenan Allen fan.
Okay.
Let me be perfectly clear.
Because he's one of my favorite all time.
I'm probably one of the only people left on this earth that's not a Chargers fan that was like screaming to the mountaintops that a healthy Keenan Allen and a healthy Mike Williams was a top 5 duo in the NFL.
Sure.
100%. I love Keenan Allen.
Best route runner in football next to Amari Cooper.
But what I would say, like, I would, again, just because he's younger, I would take DJ Moore over Keenan Allen as a receiver.
That's it. I'm not, both had career years, so I'm not mad at it.
So, but it's
you had a career year with Justin Fields and Tyson Bagent, so I'm not, you know what I mean?
Like that's massive. But it's not like it's not that Keenan's bad. It's just
right. I hear you.
I'm sure he's gonna slot in at wide receiver 1 because he's the vet. But but I also know that Caleb's gonna share the sugar and he's gonna spread the ball around, so it's fine.
Oh yeah.
I would what did I just say? Amon-Ra St. Brown has to be in there. DJ Moore has to be in there. TJ Hawkinson has to be in there. I still think he's not top 5, but he's certainly top 10.
All of them are over Jordan for you.
Yeah, I think so.
Can I give you? I'm gonna give you my list right now because
Josh Jacobs hasn't even played a game yet in the NFC.
Get the fuck out of here! Get him out of here! Get him out of here! Go pass your piss test first, Josh, and then we can talk about you playing some Packer games. Get out of here!
I love Jordan though, bro. I think you know what it is. I don't want to be that. I was really hard on the Jordan Love draft pick because I was one of those short-sighted Packers fans. I was like, bro, we're coming off of a year in 2019 when we went to San Francisco and let Raheem Mostert and the crew run all over us, bro. I'm like, brother, wide receiver core did not step up. Yeah. So to go from that to, and I just pulled this up, to go from that to, okay, Brett Favre in 1992, his first year starting. I think I just lost it, which is going to make me upset.
No.
I just lost the graphic. Hold on, let me find it.
While you find it, I'll buy you time. I'll buy you time. Like, I thought, like, the difference between, getting Jordan Love versus getting Michael Penix is you understood, I think, even as a fan, as much as you loved Aaron Rodgers, the big thing was you always kind of felt like every year was the last dance since 2019 on. So I kind of understood that. Now, to pay Kirk Cousins, make him the highest paid quarterback damn near in NFL history at that time, and then draft Michael Penix when all you have is Darnell Mooney, brother. Like, that was all you get, brother. I understand you have Pitts, you have London, you have Bijan, like you have some guys, but when Rome Odunze and Malik Neighbors and all these guys are Brock Bowers are available, and you were like, Michael Penix, the guy who's torn both ACLs by the age of 21. Oh my God. Like, oh my God, bro. Like, I lost it. But I get it.
Jordan, so I have a lot of hope in Jordan. And I didn't even know that this happened until I saw this graphic when I was prepping for the show. 1992 was Brett Favre's first year starting in Green Bay.
Yeah.
He had an 8-5 record, 3,200 yards, 18 touchdowns, 13 picks. Aaron Rodgers' first year was 2008. 6-10 record, 4,000 yards, 28 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. Jordan Love last year in his first year starting was 9-8, so a better record, almost 4,200 yards, so more passing yards, and had a 32-11 touchdown interception ratio. So he was better. He took better care of the football. And now, comparatively, when you think about that, you're talking about Brett Favre, who is the ultimate gunslinger, literally leads all of NFL history in interceptions. It makes sense that he had less interceptions than that guy. But to have a better touchdown interception ratio to literally the guy that if you pull up the top 10 seasons with touchdown interception ratio, he has like all of them.
Yeah.
That gives me a lot of hope. At the end of next season, at the end of this season, Jordan Love will be my top 10. I didn't want to be biased, so I kept him out.
I hope so. You mean top 5?
He'll be my top 5 if he's a quarterback.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm hoping he's already in the top 10 in the NFC North. That'd be crazy.
He's like 11, bro. Like, I don't know.
Brother. See, I'm gonna tell you why. My list, I did this with my guy, Tony Hollinsworth. Shout out, Tone, if you're watching this. We did this a few weeks ago, and my list has changed because after watching receiver, I had a different mentality. I really did. Now, number 1, clear cut, Justin Jefferson. No question. Not even gonna get into it. Aura, brother. If you don't know about it, figure it out. Turn on Netflix, go watch Receiver, and you'll know about it. But shout out to him. Number 2, I'm putting Jordan Love. And I'll tell you why. I mean, listen, Bears history, not a single quarterback ever 4,000 passing yards. This guy did it in his first season. But he did it in a fashion to where not only did he have several receivers who, let's be honest, they're not no-name receivers, but they're not nationally known receivers. Christian Watson was out for the majority of the year, in and out with injuries. Romeo Doubs, sometimes sometimes you can put him at your flex in fantasy. Sometimes he's in a waiver wire. You really don't know. Yeah. It's week to week. And then Snead, is it Snead? What is Reed? No, it's Reed. I'm sorry. Reed. Yeah. Reed. I mean, just coming out of nowhere and getting over 1,000 yards on the year and leading the team in receptions. In yards. So I mean, what I saw from Jordan Love and why I don't have a guy like Jared Goff on that list, but I do have a Jordan Love, is because Jordan Love did a lot with a little. And I think that was, for me, was everything. Was like, yo, man, listen, I can't meat ride CJ Stroud and then ignore what this kid just did in Green Bay. I want everybody to know, watching this right now, bear down for the rest of our fucking life. But Jordan Love is the truth. And I believe it. I truly do. And listen, I hear a lot of people talking about, they paid him $220 million after only one season. That's idiotic. That's preposterous. Let me tell you something. They went 3 for 3. Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love. They have the right to do that. We went 3 for 3 too. L's, Jay Cutler, Mitch Trubisky, Justin Fields. So I'm hoping this 4 is about to go crazy, because I can't handle another rookie Bears quarterback jersey. And my wallet can't afford it. So I do have Jordan Love as the second best player in the NFC North. Number 3, I'm going Jalen Johnson. Jalen Johnson, my dog, my guy. I mean, he's like that. He is like that. I mean, he's lockdown corner. In my opinion, he's one of the best corners in the NFL. The only reason people didn't give him that respect until last season was because the interceptions weren't there. Ryan Poles told him. Yeah, I mean, listen, I've played defensive. What was I going to say? Defensive back my whole life. I almost said something completely different. I almost said edge, but I played defensive back my whole life. I would rather you not target me anytime than target me 10 times in a game. That shows me that you think that I'm an option. Like, you can get on me. No one throws towards Jalen Johnson. No one wants to fuck with Jalen Johnson because he is on you like glue. He's on that ass, belt to ass, Pat Bev style. Like, what are we talking about? But, so I got Jalen at 3. Number 4, where you gave credit to Jared Goff, I'm going to give credit to Amon-Ra St. Brown. Again, you watch receiver. Guy's got a fractured rib and torn muscles in every part of his body throughout the entire season, 1,500 yards. I don't look at Jared Goff and say you're a threat. I think he has weapons around him. He reminds me a lot of Dak. He reminds me a lot of Kirk Cousins in that same breath, to where it's like, I'm not in any way, shape, or form concerned on, hey, like 2 seconds left, we're up 1, their ball, Hail Mary. We've seen it plenty of times. We've seen Jay Cutler throw. We've seen Matt Stafford, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers on a last effort ditch. Hey, let's throw it out, Hail Mary. Those guys are going to come up. Even Jay Cutler would come up here and there. But Jared Goff in that play, I'm not concerned. I'm not concerned whatsoever. Even if you have Calvin Johnson, I'm not concerned because it's Jared Goff. But Amon-Ra to me is number 4. And then number 5 was a hard one. I think there's a lot of different ways you can go. Obviously, Keenan Allen's one of my favorite wide receivers of all time. And I've felt like that I was on Give Us a Shot when I think I just started at Give Us a Shot. And I was saying, a guy like Keenan isn't available. That'd be crazy. Maybe we'll get Mike Williams. But like, oh my God. As much as I love Montez Sweat, as much as I love, Harrison, as much as I think Gary had a great year, I'm going to give my 5 spot to Jahmyr Gibbs. And I know that's a hot take, but I'm going based off of athleticism and based off of what I think he has the intangibles to do this season. I think it's going to be very critical for him to get the ball more. Obviously, David Montgomery, former Bear, is going to be in the way of that because he's kind of he's your red zone threat. He's your ground and pound guy. Third down, you're going to want David Montgomery in there. But it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. So I'm going to put Jahmyr Gibbs at 5. I'm standing on that. The only difference I had was I put Amon-Ra in there after watching receiver. I was like, you know what? There's a lot of things I don't know that are going on throughout the NFL year. 1,500 yards just doesn't happen every day. I think it was a quiet 1,500 yards too, because I kind of forgot that even happened. So yeah, I got Justin Jefferson, Jordan Love, Jalen Johnson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Jahmyr Gibbs. Honorable mentions: Keenan Allen, DJ Moore. I think there's a couple guys obviously in Green Bay. You could say Alexander, you could say Gary. Outside of that, I don't really think I could say you could make an argument for Aiden Hutchinson, but for Minnesota's sake, I don't put Jordan Addison in that conversation yet. I don't put TJ Hawkinson in that conversation yet. But I think they're on their way. I think it's going to be interesting. But before we get you out of here, Marcus, thank you for being here, brother. I know it's been a minute. We've been almost together 2 hours, damn near. But
it's true.
Almost. We had a TED talk before the show. Top 3 players in 2024 for both the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears. I'll do Bears, you do Packers. Based off of not only what happened in the 2023 season and the momentum, but from what you've seen thus far, who are your top 3 players that you think by the end of the year you said had the best year?
Jordan Love, Rashawn Gary, Jaden Reed. That was in that order. I mean, Jordan Love I think there are a lot of people, going back to the contract thing, there are a lot of people that are harping on saying like, oh, he had one good back half of the season. Yeah. But the back half of the season that he had, he was nearly perfect. Mm-hmm. We went into the bye week and we were struggling. Like we went into the bye week and it looked like Jordan Love should not have been taken off the board. Like that's what it looked like. Now, Jordan wasn't playing bad, necessarily from a standpoint of like we were just losing games we had no business losing last season. And that was what was doing us in. We had a game against the Raiders on a Monday night that we should have won and we lost.
Forgot about
that. We lost that game. We should have won it. Like, so when you look at going into our week 6, we were 2-4, bro.
Yeah.
We were 2-4 going into week 6 in our bye. We come out of that, we drop a game to Denver we had no business losing, and then we get beat on by Minnesota. Absolutely dusted. We're entering the second half of the season, and we're 2-8, or we're 2-5 at that point. We beat LA because we always beat LA, and then we lost a tough game to Pittsburgh on the road. And going into week 11, we needed to basically be perfect if we really wanted to shot at the playoffs. And all we did was win 6 of the last 8 games, losing 2 games. We lost a game on Monday night to the Giants that I will never forgive us for losing because that's another game we should not have lost. Yeah. But we were also the only team last season to hold the Chiefs to under 20 points.
Yeah.
And then the icing on the cake, Jordan Love in an almost poetic scenario at home against the Bears has an opportunity to win a football game and send us to the playoffs.
You didn't win that game. You didn't win that game.
65 days before, Aaron Rodgers had a home game against the Lions with a chance to send us into the playoffs, and he failed.
Yeah.
Jordan Love did not. Jordan Love at home won that football game. And so
when you look at the
back half, Jordan Love led the league in the back half of the season in touchdowns, in yards, in touchdown to interception ratio, in QB, in every major statistical category. Jordan Love was either at the top or in the top 5. So for all the people that are saying it was just one half of the season, yeah, it was just one half of the season, but it was the best half of the season of football we'd seen. We have to remember, last year, for all intents and purposes, was a down year in quarterback play. Pat Mahomes struggled a lot last season. Dak was great. Josh Allen was great, but like all the guys that we thought were going to be great, Joe Burrow obviously was hurt. Justin Herbert, I don't know what was going on with him. Like all the guys we thought were going to be at the top of of the rankings of quarterback, they were all having down years.
Kirk Cousins went down.
Kirk Cousins, like our MVP last season did not throw for 4,000 yards. I can't tell you the last time in my lifetime a quarterback has won MVP without throwing for at least 4,000 yards. Now, again, it's Lamar Jackson, so whatever he didn't throw for, he ran for. I understand that. But again, that's unprecedented. I don't think in the history of in the 21 years I've been alive, so we're going all the way back to the 02-03 season, or the 02-03 season. Since then to now, I think Lamar Jackson might be the only quarterback to have not thrown for 4,000 yards in a season with MVP, excluding his first MVP season, because I don't think he threw for 4,000 yards that year. Like, we've never. So for Jordan Love to do that, take the youngest team in NFL history on the road to Dallas, a team that had one of the better defenses in the league, and hang 50 nearly on them, go to San Francisco and lose a game that we should have won because Darnell Savage has one good play every season, and he cashed in his card in a blowout instead of in a tight game that we needed him for.
Yep. Chris Conte used to do that shit.
I was so pissed when he dropped that pick. For him to then say, or people to then say Jordan Love is undeserving of this contract.
Yeah.
It's unrealistic. This is as wide as the Packers Super Bowl window has been since we went 15-1 the following season from the Super Bowl and let Eli Manning walk into our crib and dust us up. This is as wide as it's been. Despite all the MVP seasons that Aaron Rodgers had, despite all the greatness we saw from Aaron and Devontae, our Super Bowl window has not been as wide as it's been. Christian Watson, rookie deal still. Jaden Reed, rookie deal still. Obviously, he was just rookie last season. Dobbs, rookie deal still. Dante, like, we have 4 of our 5 receivers are still on their rookie deal. We just brought in Josh Jacobs. We don't have to worry about paying him. I think we also extended him once we brought him in as well. We just extended every major player on our defense for the most part that whose contract was up, extended. Jair Alexander, extended. Kenny Clark, extended. I think Rashawn Gary will be due next year. And we'll have the thing to get it done. Like, anyone, like, so when I look at you and I say Jordan Love is going to be the best player for the Packers, it's not because of the money. It's because this team does not have anything else to worry about other than performing.
Right.
This offense is going to be set up to be probably better than it was last season. And this is a really good offense, especially the back half of the season. So that's why he's number 1. Rashawn Gary, I've said it 3 times. He will probably be a Defensive Player of the Year candidate this year. I think he's going to be that good. There's no reason why he won't be a candidate in my eyes. And Jaden Reed, brother, I have not been more impressed with a rookie receiver in my life than I was with Jaden Reed. And I'm obviously excluding like the receivers that had really great seasons in their rookie season, like Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase, for example. I don't need TikTok hating on me, but I'm saying for Jaden Reed to, again, think about it, grand scheme of things. Christian Watson was our receiver 1. He was out with injury because of the way that his muscles are set up, which I thought was really interesting to find out. Romeo Dobbs, who was supposed to slot into that, struggled immensely. For Jaden Reed to step up in the way that he did in his rookie season and be as vital as he was for so many games, literally the difference between wins and losses for us sometimes. Huge. Someone in the comments said I'm drinking the Packers Kool-Aid. Do you not see the jersey I have on? Brother, I'm a fan.
He's just giving this is top 3.
I'm showing my team some love, bro. Like, let me do that. So I'm thoroughly impressed with Jaden Reed last season. I think he's gonna have a great season this season as well. This is gonna be great. I think those 3 players are gonna be the key. And then of course you have your Jaires, your Xavier McKinney, you have your all those. But
get out of here. We said 3.
No. I'm saying like those 3 are going to be the key 3.
Right.
It's going to be those 3.
I think 100%. So. And I'm with you, bro. I really think there's a lot of different ways you guys can go about it. And for anybody watching this on the TikTok or on Give Us a Shot or wherever, definitely something you probably didn't expect is I know a lot about the Packers. I know a lot about the Lions. I know a lot about the Minnesota Vikings. And it's because it's important to pay attention to what other people are doing. I'm not just sitting here and every Sunday saying, who's next? Who's wearing red this week? Who's wearing blue? Who's wearing green and red? I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm locked in to the schemes. I'm locked into what we're doing and how we're going to go about it, the approach, the mentality. It's all it's going to be pivotal to what the organization is doing moving forward in order to have success, especially bringing in Shane Waldron. You have Matt Eberflus under Ryan Poles. We'll see what happens for the future of Flus. But, for me, my top 3 players going into 2024, there's no secret whatsoever. I think it was really hard because I'm a huge Tyreek Stevenson fan. I actually just got to talk to him the other day. Me and my boy James were walking and we're on this platform to watch the practice. We're all in these bleachers. Here comes Reek, flies straight into the board, hits the wall, falls down, and everyone's like, Reek, can you sign my jersey? My boy James was like, hey, yo, Reek, you good? He looked at us dead in the eye. He goes, yeah, I'm all right. And then he walked away, and I was like, oh, cool. Acknowledgement. But I love Reek. I think he had a defensive player or defensive rookie of the year candidate season last year. He was one of the best corners in all of football from a rookie perspective. I don't think that's a hot take. That's just a fact. I mean, he was locked in. So there was times where he's guarding up on Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams, et cetera, and he does his job. And I love what I'm seeing from him. So he's my honorable mention. Number one, Jalen Johnson. It's not a hot take. It's he's top 100 for a reason. Or assumingly he is top 100 for a reason. Jalen Johnson is without a doubt one of the best corners in all of football, and he proved that last year. Like I said, the interceptions don't need to really be there in order to have a successful season, but he managed to do both. Ryan Poles tasked him, said, hey, listen, your contract's coming up. I want picks. He gave picks and pick sixes. So shout out to him. And then he went a little bit like this, and I was like, that was tough. But so Jalen Johnson's number one. Number two, I'm going to give it to somebody that I don't think a lot of people really saw coming. Everybody's looking at Keenan Allen. Everybody's looking at DJ Moore. I'm going to give it to TJ Edwards. I think TJ Edwards is one of those sneaky premier linebackers that nobody really talks about. I think he's going to continue to get better, continue to soar as the season goes on. TJ Edwards is somebody that I've been watching a long time. And, he's from the Illinois area. I'm not gonna say Chicago because he's not. I think it's really cool to see a homegrown talent. I think the Bears have a lot of guys who are homegrown talents on this team. And number three, I think this is the obvious one, is Caleb Williams. And I put Caleb at 3 because putting him at 1 or 2 makes it seem as if this is do or die. I think Caleb Williams is going to have a good season. I think, for me, 25 to 30 touchdowns is the minimum, especially when you have a receiver core like this. Whether it's 4,000 yards or not, it's not really there for me. As long as we are winning football games, that's everything. I think he has the intangibles to have one of the greatest rookie seasons we've ever seen outside of maybe CJ Stroud, and a true rookie season, you could say, in Patrick Mahomes, Jordan Love, guys like that. So I think it's going to be Peyton Manning. Fuck, how could I forget one of the GOATs? Traumatized me as a kid in 06. But, I think, man, it's going to be cool to see what happens with Caleb Williams. I think it's going to continue to get better. I love what we're seeing so far in 7-on-7s, and I think it's going to continue to progress to 11-on-11s once the offensive line gets some pads on and we start getting into it. Got some amazing throws already. Got Air Caleb doing his thing. You saw the photo. It was hard. You can't lie. He was mid-throw, sidearm. I mean, he got a little Patrick Mahomes in him. So, if we could see more of those, I think that's incredible. But again, you can try to mimic Patrick Mahomes, but at the end of the day, can you win like Patrick Mahomes? I think that's going to be the question. So Jalen Johnson, TJ Edwards, and Caleb Williams are my top 3 going into 2024. Honorable mentions: Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Tremaine Edmonds, Montez Sweat, of course. There's a lot of guys on this list that we could name, but these are the 3 guys that I think are going to have flawless type seasons or some of the best seasons compared to other people on the team. But really quickly, before we get the man out of here, Pack a Punch podcast host.
Before I react, I just want to ask, who is Los Four Amigos? Who is that? Do you know that person personally?
Amigos.
Or is it just someone that's watching?
I don't believe I do know. But
okay, great. So this guy just said that I'm hyping the Packers trio of wide receivers like they're better than the Bears wide receiver trio. So you obviously weren't watching the show when you first started, because I very adamantly stated that they're not better than the wide receiver trio. But I guess, and also I'm a fan of the team. Like, am I not allowed to be excited about bro? Come on, bro. Let me be happy here. We have a really good.
Not Packers fans. Not on this pod. Not allowed. Suffer.
We have
pain.
a really good set of 3 here, and I'm allowed to be excited about it.
Nope. I hope all of their kneecaps just gone. No, I'm kidding. Crazy. Imagine. No, never that. But no, I get it. Like it's, and I get where he's coming from at the same point too, because where you have, I would say the Packers have 3 Rome Odunzes right now, give or take. 3 young guys who have a lot really high ceilings. The Bears have the veterans around a Rome Odunze as well. You have the Keenan Allen, who's a Hall of Famer, in my opinion. A DJ Moore, who is on a great trajectory to have an amazing career. I wouldn't say Hall of Fame, but a great career. So I get it. Guys are just younger, but that doesn't always mean that, the younger guys aren't better than the Hall of Famer. So we'll have to see. That's the only way we're going to find out is, what is it, week 11 and week 18 with Bears versus Packers, if I'm not, or is it week 12? It's one or the other.
It's 11 and 18, I think.
It's 11 and 18. Shout out to me. It's almost like It's almost like I have it on my calendar. But with that being said, man, Dwayne Marcus from Protect Our Queens podcast on Give Us a Shot Network and Pack a Punch podcast. I don't suggest that second one, but if you're a Packers fan, it is the show for you, but it's not the show for me. But I appreciate you for being on, bro. Is there anything else you wanted to plug in before we get you out of here?
Nah, man. Just follow me on Instagram at marcus.talks.sports. Follow me on TikTok as well at Marcus Talk Sports. When I heard that, I've been very in and out on TikTok, but now I'm fully committed. So we're looking to get that running, get that back and up running so we can do some numbers over there. We were doing some numbers a couple of years, like maybe a year or two ago, and then I kind of stopped doing TikTok because it got to be too much. But
it's a lot.
TikTok comments are brutal, bro. It's tough, but we back fact checking people on some things that they just spewing in the comments of nonsense. So go ahead and follow me over there. Goal is to hit 5,000 by the end of the year. So let's make that happen as well.
Love to see it. But appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate you guys being here. Trust, next podcast, we will not be talking about the Green Bay Packers whatsoever because I throw up in my mouth every time I finish a pod of one of these. But definitely go check out Marcus, Pack a Punch. We'll be back very soon. Oh, Marcus, when are you rocking that out again? I didn't mean to put you on the blast.
No, you're good. I think we're taking a break until maybe like a week before the season starts. Yeah, preseason.
Okay, awesome. So we'll be
look at the preseason schedule because I don't know the date off the top of my head.
Yeah,
but once preseason starts, we'll start running it back up again.
Yeah, we'll be back at it. I'm excited, man. Hopefully, Give Us a Shot and the Shy Kid are going to be collabing in Canton, Ohio next week. We got Bears Hall of Fame game. Gonna try to make that with my boy James. Hopefully, we'll get some interviews. We obviously got Mongo. Peppers, who shout out Peppers, both a Green Bay Packer and a Chicago Bear, and Devin Hester, Julius Peppers, and Stephen McMichael making the Hall of Fame. Congratulations to all of them. Congratulations to everybody else who entered the Hall. We will be back better than ever. Marcus and I will definitely be doing more shows together as the season continues. But until then, make sure you give us a like, give us a follow on Give Us a Shot Network. Until then, peace.